Beautiful color for her. Good evening. Welcome to the work session on Monday, September 14th. It is 5 p.m. Just to tell the council, there will be a regular meeting and then, of course, a special meeting following the work session. We are all here tonight. It's good to see everybody at the table tonight. We're all here, huh? Yay. Ready to go to work for the year. We have two items tonight's work session. Of course, for me, it's a pleasure because I admire both of these leaders. Of course, Superintendent Betsy Hargrove and Superintendent Julian Lean. And so it's a pleasure, and it's going to be, we're looking forward to hearing. Superintendent Betsy Hargrove will present an update to the council on the state of Avondale Elementary School District and will also discuss potential issues and policy impacting the city of Goodyear's public, private, and community education partners. So are you beginning? You're not doing this as a team, is that correct? Well, then I'll wait on Julian. Go ahead, you have the floor.
We are a team normally, but
yes, we
are
are
separate.
You're on separate.
And I just click using this. Is that right? Okay. First of all, I would like to say, Mayor Lord, members of the council, thank you so much for having us here this evening. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to share with you our thoughts, our successes, and our challenges. And so I'm going to start by just telling you a little bit about Avondale Elementary School District. Avondale Elementary School District has 9 schools plus an alternative school. We are kindergarten through 8th grade, and 6 of our 9 schools are in the boundaries of the city of Goodyear. Just to give you a little bit more information so that you recognize all of our schools, we have across the district 74% of students eligible for free and reduced lunch in our schools. Specifically in the Goodyear schools, that ranges anywhere from 49% to 93%, depending on which school that you're in, with the average at approximately 68% for the Goodyear schools specifically. The challenges that we have here in Avondale are certainly not unique to Avondale. You would find that these challenges are not just here in Arizona. As a matter of fact, they're nationwide, and that would be specific to the teacher shortage and how do we ensure that we have the most qualified teachers in our classrooms every day. When you talk about a turnover rate of teachers anywhere between, I think the average now in the state of Arizona is somewhere around 22%. If you do that a couple of years in a row, then really you're looking at a brand new staff after 4 years, if you do the math out that way. Thankfully, that isn't exactly the number that we have in Avondale. We average anywhere, generally we've gotten as high as 16% this past year. We're incredibly fortunate to be somewhere closer to 12%. Yet those still have some unique challenges, and currently right now we still have 4 certified teacher vacancies that we're seeking to fill, mainly in the area of hard to fill areas, junior high math, certainly junior high science, and of course special education. I know that you recognize that that is not a phenomena that is only in Avondale or only in Arizona. That certainly is across the nation. You can follow some pretty in-depth literature surrounding that. But it is something we need to be aware of and something that we need to, as school districts, working together as well as with universities, as well as with State Department personnel to be able to combat that and make sure that Arizona and specifically the Southwest Valley, specific to us, Goodyear, is a place where people want to go and people want to bring their children and want to live. And so that's our goal. Another challenge that we have is, again, I know that this is not new to you, reduction in funding. If you look at it at capital funding alone since 2008, we've been reduced 85%. So this year we're receiving 85% of the allocation that we received in 2008. So currently 15% of that funding is what we're using to support the purchase of stuff. And what I mean by stuff is air conditioning units, buses. It would also include curriculum adoptions and making sure that our kids have the most up-to-date resources in their hands. Unfortunately, our ability to do that has been reduced by 85%. So that definitively is a challenge. Unique maybe to Avondale would be a situation of declining enrollment, and that presents unique challenges in and of itself. One would think, okay, well, you've less students, so you need less teachers, and boy, that's just simple, right? So it's a one-for-one. Well, you can imagine it's not a one-for-one, because if you lose, say 20 kids, it's not in any one grade level, it's spread out over multiple grade levels. So instead of having 26 kids in a classroom, you have to reduce that number, and it ends up going up to maybe 28, 29, possibly even 30, which then actually perpetuates a very negative cycle. What we've done this year is reduce our class sizes significantly in the hopes of ensuring that our families feel supported, that our students have everything that they possibly can. But I will tell you, as a superintendent, that's a risk based off of, again, let's go back to policy, based off of some policy decisions that are on the table right now to go to current year funding. That could significantly negatively impact all of the district, certainly a district in declining enrollment. And so that is a challenge. I will tell you, I don't know many school districts that have had an influx of the number of new schools that we have seen in Avondale-Goodyear area. And I will share with you that as a parent, I support school choice. I believe that it's important for families to be able to choose where they want to go. However, when we reach a saturation point, it becomes very difficult to be able to serve all of the children in the immediate area and do it well. We want to build consistency. We want to build stability, and we believe that we're able to do that. And we believe that what we have to offer in the Avondale Elementary School District is absolutely phenomenal and second to none. And so that all being said, I would like to share with you the successes that we've seen in the Avondale Elementary School District over the past several years. The three areas that we focus on primarily in our district are Kids at Hope, Community Connections, and Student Learning. And I preface all of these conversations to say that without the support of an incredible community like Goodyear and the city of Avondale, we would not be able to do a tenth of what we're able to do. And I say that with deep gratitude to the people that are sitting at this table with me, because there is not an event that we have that we don't have representation from this council at, and support from people at this table, as well as all of the resources and services that are available in the city of Goodyear. So I greatly appreciate that and would not be able to be sitting here today without that. Specific to those successes under student learning, you'll notice a significant demonstration of technology and robotics and things such as that. We are able to do those things based off of the support of our community through our bond and through our capital override. We have, in this past year alone, had $600,000 of infrastructure to ensure that all of our sites are at a spot where they can move to one-to-one initiative for grades 3 through 8 in the area of English language arts and social studies. So both of those areas we've been able to engage a digital curriculum. Every student every day is on an iPad or a Chromebook to ensure that their learning is absolutely in real time. I just think about the activities that I had today alone, picking up, a question came up, the first thing I did was picked up my phone, looked up something, was able to add to the conversation with the information gleaned from that. Our students every single day in our classrooms are able to do that. Over this past year alone, we have purchased over 4,500 devices so that our students every single day are able to access that information. The other piece that I want to emphasize with our digital curriculum is our coding. Every one of our students, kindergarten through 8th grade, learned coding during the school day. And that has just been a phenomenal event to watch children engage in a completely new learning. And what is exciting about that is I term it as kind of the great equalizer. It doesn't matter, how successful you've been in school in the past. It doesn't matter what your language is. It doesn't matter, whether or not you're good at math or English, or it absolutely does not matter, because it is brand new and it's systematic. Kids can pick up coding, can look at it, can start at ground zero, and it's all new. And then they can go and be successful at their pace. It is quite exciting to watch a child who may have struggled at school in the past actually become an expert and become the leader in that. And as we all know, success breeds success, and it's incredibly exciting to watch our students take off in that area. We also have an incredibly strong fine arts and music program. We have a strings orchestra. We have band and chorus at all of our school sites. We have an iPad orchestra. And we're actually engaging into some mariachi as well as some percussion groups. So keep your eyes out for that, and I should say keep your ears out for that because that'll be coming soon. Let's. Trying. No. There we go. Left hand. Kids at Hope. Kids at Hope is a philosophy that has had a long tradition in Avondale. The bottom line is it's knowing and believing that all kids are capable of success, no exception. And I have to say that Goodyear has just been a tremendous support in this effort because each year when we have Explore Your Destination Day, the opportunity for our kids to see business leaders, civic leaders, business owners, our first responders, standing in front of them and telling them that you too can do this. This can be your future. And it's just an incredibly exciting opportunity. We challenge kids to be able to recognize their future in 4 destinations: home and family, community and service, hobbies and recreation, and college and career. All 4 of those areas. Think about your life. And if you had to define your world, all 4 of those areas would be touched. And so we want our kids at a very young age to be able to recognize who they could be in the future. So no longer do we ask them, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And what does that look like? And it's just been an incredibly exciting opportunity. With that as well, I want to share with you the next piece because we talk about community connections. And with community connections, that ties right in with our Explore Your Destination Days. Our SciTech Festival, which has been recognized across the state of Arizona as one of the premier groups, we were able to actually have a live press conference across the United States. Mayor Lord was able to be a full participant in that. We have a great appreciation for that because that demonstrates that we recognize the gifts and the talents that are right here in our community. Our goal in the Avondale Elementary School District specific to SciTech is we want our kids to know they don't have to look any further than right here. They can have their future in those 4 destinations right here in the Southwest Valley. And we're incredibly excited to be able to demonstrate that every single day through those community connections that we make. A special nod and thanks to the Arts Council of Goodyear for the program offerings that we've been able to have over in several of our school sites, both in art performances, live performances, as well as in creating art. So that has been an incredible partnership that we've been able to have. And then the other piece, and I hope that you've noticed, and if you haven't, please drive around to our Goodyear schools because thanks to our bond, that we've been able to give facelifts to all of our school sites. The exterior painting over the past year and over the next year and a half will be done completely. Our playgrounds have been revamped, and if you take a look at the community fields, they are literally in the process of having makeovers at many of those sites. So we're excited to be able to offer that for both our school and our community and our families. So over this next year, we're spending an awful lot of time talking about telling our story, making sure that Avondale's story is one that is out there and is being told. In your packet, you should have the AESD Connected. That actually is mailed out to the entire district boundary, and it just highlights what's happening in our district, and that'll be sent out 3 times a year, as well as we have monthly videos that are being developed with kids and parents and staff, highlighting what's happening at the school sites, as well as postcards. And I believe you have a copy of a postcard, if you would imagine the front and the back, the top and the bottom. But again, just an opportunity to make sure that everyone knows the story of Avondale because it is an incredible one. And so you are the first on the list of invitees to our Civic Leaders Day. So if you can mark your calendar on December 8th, starting at 9:30 a.m. This is literally one of those save the dates. We'll do a location to be determined because once we determine the number of people, we want to be able to have people attend different sites. So what we're really excited about is to be able to have people in our classrooms to see what is happening because it is phenomenal. So we hope to see you there, and we hope certainly that you'll continue to tell the story of Avondale and all the amazing things that are happening there. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. Questions? Joe?
Yeah, I appreciate all the effort you do, and we're a big supporter of yours. I guess one of my questions, I know one of your biggest challenges is teachers, but I also just saw recently the state's still trying to figure out how to pay you guys the money they owe you, and we had heard from others that you've got replacement equipment, you got buses, things like that, where your capital, you just don't have any money. My concern, and I don't know how you get that message across to our state legislators, is that we don't want to wait till something happens that we're saying, well, I wish we had the money to fix something, especially when you're carrying children on school buses. And if you don't have the money to maintain them to the proper safety, or you're putting baling wire, you kind of get my drift on that. And somehow we've got to get that message to them, especially on this capital, on the replacement, to make sure that they're riding on safe vehicles to get there, and we keep that stuff up. Because that's the worst nightmare I have when something like that, because they don't give you the money to take care of your capital and to replace those funds. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I know they've been talking about it, but they've been talking about it for a long time, that they actually sit down and resolve this issue. Because I've always said, our future is our kids. If we don't take care of our kids, then we have no future. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for all you do. I've got 2 school-age kids, so I know what it's going through, and I know how hard it is for the parents right now with the teachers and losing good teachers. I know a couple years ago, I don't know if you heard about this, a couple years ago there was some initiative that the legislature was trying to pass where like retired people like from Intel and some of these larger companies wanted to come in and teach the schools, but because they didn't have the right certification, they couldn't. Did that just die on the vine, or has that ever come back?
Interesting. Dr. Lean and I were at a meeting this morning. That was one of the conversation points that was there. A little bit of both is the answer to that. If you can remember back to just about 2008 when we had a number of emergency certified teachers who and I can only speak for Avondale, I would have to imagine the same, absolutely incredibly phenomenally talented people who were in our classrooms under emergency certificates. Unfortunately, at that point, the state superintendent and the state said that, no, we're not going to do emergency certs anymore, and those people will have to not return under that clause. And so that has not been reenacted. Oh. Certainly, I do believe that there are a tremendous number of people out there who would fit that. I also know that we work very closely with our universities to bring forward talented people and provide pedagogical support for them. Any way that we can possibly incentivize becoming a teacher, because when we think about what happens in their role and responsibility every single day, we need to make sure the very best person is in that classroom. And we will seek any avenue to get that.
And any help you need from us, I agree 100% with Joe, and I think we need to get that to our legislature as well, that our schools are our economic development. When we talk about economic development and rebranding the state, that we need to say education has to be what we can sell to these businesses. So we're behind you 100%, and we'll do what we can. So thank you both.
I have to tell you, I have a great appreciation for our community and for the fact that we said collectively that we support public education, that we support education, we support our kids. I could not be sharing with you the successes that we've had over the past couple of years without the support of our community. So thank you.
Councilman Osborne?
Thank you. They said wonderful things, and I agree with them wholeheartedly. You 2 ladies both know my children have been in both of your districts, and I appreciate everything that you do for our kids. I appreciate everything that your teachers, your boards do for the kids, and I know that it's a lot of hard work, and there's times that we're cheering everything on that we can possibly do, and then there's times that we sit there and just, oh my gosh, one more thing is on our shoulders. I say ours because we are as a community. It is our shoulders of what we can accomplish. But together we don't give up. And together we are strong for the kids because, you know, they are our future. And those are the things that I think keeps you going every day, keeps your staff going every day. And you know what? That's the most important thing. And so I know that when you look at the big picture of education, where it stands with Goodyear, and it is the future that we want for our children, the brightest, the most successful it can be. It's the workforce that we want to have in this city. It's highly educated children and adults that we want to keep here in our city. And then that goes out into the role of the corporations that want to come here. And it's like, why do I want to come to Arizona? Why do I want to come to Goodyear specifically? Well, it's because we do, as a community and as a city, embrace what's happening in education. And we want to cheer you on. And, you know, if there are things that we can do to speak to our legislators, then that's what, you know, we should be doing. But sometimes it doesn't feel like we're getting very far, but, you know, we don't ever give up. So I appreciate you guys being here and kind of giving your state of your district. So I appreciate that.
Councilman Campbell?
Well, I've got a couple of questions, if you don't mind. What is your total enrollment? And of the total enrollment, what is your best guess that they're actually Goodyear children?
Our total enrollment is approximately 5,600 students, and of that, about 4,000 are Goodyear.
More than half.
Yes. Oh, definitively more than half.
Okay. I do appreciate you recognize what a great partner you are and we are to you. And we don't always say that we're ready to do whatever we know or whatever we need to do to help you succeed, but you know we're standing here. We don't, we're not really involved in your board, although we have a lot of volunteers involved in your school. And by that, we can recruit our residents and folks that we know, especially our retired teachers and some of our folks that are working at the library that want to come in and read to the kids and help in any way that they can. I'm concerned with the drop of the teachers. Is it because of the low pay is why you've got such a huge turnover? What do you think is the reason for the huge turnover of your teachers?
There are multiple factors that come into play. Certainly, finances is one of them. I will tell you, much like many school districts in Arizona, I'd say honestly most school districts, our staff were held at a pay spot for about 6 years, and that's very difficult to go year after year with just a static pay, particularly with inflation and actually increases in retirement. So you actually get paid less because of the percentage having to go into retirement. That certainly is very difficult. I will tell you that I think one of the challenges is a bit of ambiguity as far as what is the target. So as we've gone through a transition of assessments, being asked / expected, mandated to change to new standards and yet being held accountable to prior standards is very difficult. So asking our teachers to engage in teaching in an entirely new manner and philosophical approach. While I will say I agree with the expectation of ensuring that problem solving and thinking are at the forefront, I will also say it was very difficult for our staff to change directions without having a clear expectation of what the outcome was supposed to be. And even still now, we are a year past being, in theory, full implementation. Ames is gone, AZ Merit is in. Somewhere in the midst of all of that, being told, well, no, these standards are not the ones we're going to have, and a lot of angst around that. That all of those things. So can you imagine going to your job, not knowing necessarily what the full expectations are, what you're going to be rated on, because it's beyond making sure that our kids are successful. It is now whether or not a person has a job the next year, whether or not they can be successful with their teacher evaluation and with the outcome expectations. and not having that clearly delineated is incredibly difficult and incredibly challenging for people. And so there are so many factors that, but I do believe that is one of them. I think that if you walked into any one of our classrooms, and I can say this about ours, and I can say this, I feel very confident saying this about Litchfield, that if you walked into any one of our classes, you would see extraordinary teaching going on. And you would see that despite lack of resources, lack of time, and just amazing people with incredible spirit who are there for the kids and wanting to make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful so that they can meet those destinations that they describe.
I can only imagine their frustration, and it's frustrating for the children because they don't really know what the new way is going to be or how they're supposed to learn. I've got grandchildren that are in school, and they're talking to me all the time of certain things, and I'm saying, my goodness, and they don't know, and I just wish that there was a magic bullet that we could do to solve this. But I think working together and putting the issues out on the table, making us aware of these, maybe perhaps we will be successful somehow. But we thank you again for all that you do, all that your staff does. And please thank them on behalf of all of us for the wonderful work they are doing day in and day out. It is very much appreciated.
Tell them thank you.
Sherilyn?
Thank you. Well, I just want to say, I think teachers are the unsung heroes and have been for generations. The issues that we're dealing with now, I don't know, are peculiar to 2015. My mother was a school teacher. My sister was a school teacher. And I think the challenges in the classroom, while they may be changing, but they're not peculiar to the profession. You're to be admired. I couldn't do it. I substituted for a while, and I said, oops. So wasn't for me. I wanted to take them all home and make their life better, which probably wasn't a realistic goal. But I do admire you, and I do appreciate, and I have witnessed that you are doing extraordinary things in your schools, and I appreciate that. Don't give up, because you've got a lot of people behind you and a lot of lives depending on us.
Bill?
I was actually going to hold my comments until after Dr. Lean got done, just to break it up a little bit. So,
Would you like to do that?
Yeah, I'll do that if that's all right.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I've been over there and I've observed. And, the biggest thing I think that having traveled the world, seeing how other cultures respect education, the professors and the teachers, somehow we've lost that in the United States. We've downsized not only education in many ways from the decisions that are made, but also the position of an instructor, a teacher. You have the children how many hours a day? And how many hours do parents have of their children anymore? I would say very little, because everybody's working. Mostly, I think it's a high percentage of working families, a husband and the wife. So they come home, and they're trying to do things in the house, trying to give some love, trying to cook dinner, but they don't get that time that we had when we were children, that education continued when you left the classroom, when you went home, because mothers stayed at home at that time. So the whole society has changed, and so our decision makers have changed, and I'm sorry to hear that. And there is no excuse, and we have some very good legislators, but there's no excuse for what has happened in the state of Arizona. And people, the citizens, no excuse when you vote people back in year after year after year, parents. And I'm talking to the people that work, because those are the people that aren't voting. The young people that are out there and they're both working, they don't even look at a ballot. So they need to step it up and help you. And lastly, after going through some of the charter schools recently, There isn't any way that you can be asked to teach some of the things you're teaching now at that level. Has to start the kindergarten, second, third, and fourth. To come in with some of these other structures and teaching, it's very difficult. You're going to teach logic in high school, you're right? No, you got to start logic second, third, fourth, even in kindergarten. And so you're put at a disadvantage already. And then education has become politics. Got to take the politics out of education. They're not Republicans, they're not Democrats. They're children. They're everyday people who need help. And I don't know if we'll ever come to a conclusion in Arizona because we are too partisan. You've got to go for a platform. You don't care. You don't think about, is that platform good for the people in the schools? No. It's good for our party, and we're going to stand up to conservatism, or we're going to stand up to liberalism. And so consequently, the people that lose are the children, because this is our next generation. These are job fillers. These are the people we want to keep in our city. So it's a dilemma. And I thank you very much for all that you do. So thank you, and we'll go on. And we don't want to forget the next one here. So this is Superintendent Julian Lean, and she's going to present an update to council on the state.
The magic technology people over
Yes,
there.
yes.
Yeah. We have that help for
There
you.
you go.
Okay.
Look at that. Yeah, I did.
So she's going to tell you about the Litchfield. Oh, it is bribery.
It says that we're the hottest school district in Arizona, thanks to our community partners at Arizona Specialty Foods, who
very
did
nice.
those for you. And
Yeah.
Maybe we need a little bit more of that.
I try to use the more proper term
She
when
was gonna use the
presenting
word.
to all of
Or
you.
their board was sensitive to
But I am old enough where I am having hot flashes. So it really, I live in the Litchfield. I live in the city of Goodyear and the Litchfield School District. So to me, it really is the hottest school district in Arizona. Have some folks with me this evening that I'd like to introduce to you. We have two of our governing board members, Mrs. Jean Gray and Mrs. Shelley Hornback. And Steve Yamamori, Mr. Steve Yamamori, our board president, who snuck in behind my back. I also have to thank Mayor Lord for bringing out the Goodyear blimp for our presentation. As I was driving here, I saw the blimp, and as you know, the Litchfield School District was founded by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. So I thought that was just so appropriate to see the blimp
Whatever.
for us.
Yeah.
For us, just for us.
Yeah, right.
She's the lady.
I appreciate that. And my board members also noticed that you all have M&Ms. I think that's going to be something.
The mayor doesn't.
The mayor doesn't have M&Ms. Everybody else has M&Ms. Okay, well, that could
Have
be a
jelly
plus
beans.
to our board meeting. I see him looking at that. Also, I have with us Mr. Chris Barnes. Mr. Barnes is principal at Corte Sierra Elementary. Now, it is in the city of Avondale. However, Mr. Barnes is the National Distinguished Principal for Arizona this year, and he will be representing.
Did you ask him to stand?
He will be representing, he says he's the eye candy tonight in our presentation because, you know, we're mostly females in elementary school. So Mr. Barnes is going to be representing all the principals in Arizona in Washington, D.C. next month. So if you see a national incident, we don't know him. But can't hear anyway?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, we also have some of our Goodyear principals here this evening. I have Mrs. Tammy Garrett and Mrs. Ruff from Western Sky Middle School. Principal and assistant principal. I have Principal Mrs. Gina DeCoste from Mabel Paget Elementary School. And Mrs. Jennifer Benjamin from Palm Valley Elementary School. Okay, as you can see, we believe excellent schools matter in a community from an economic perspective as well as a quality of life perspective. We are an A-rated school district. Last time they rated schools, I think we got a couple more years till that happens again. But we are the highest performing elementary school district in the state, so we're very proud of that. And a little bit of history for all of you. as we reflect on the Goodyear blimp flying over. The Litchfield School District started in 1917. You're older, 1894? Well, you're even older than us. And the original Litchfield Elementary School exists today in the same location with a little Dalkey in kindergarten now? Campbell in kindergarten. Okay. Papa Brian. And Mabel Paget, who was our first teacher in the Litchfield School District, reflected in the second picture, is the namesake of our school in Goodyear, Mabel Paget. So next year, we will be celebrating our 100th year in business and our 100th year of excellence. Today we have 15 schools, 9 elementary schools, 4 middle, 1 K-8 school, which we just opened this year, Verado Heritage Elementary, in the Verado area, and 1 alternative school. And we've built 9 schools in 15 years from 2000 to 2015. Have almost 12,000 kids. We have 2 schools in Avondale, 3 schools in Buckeye, 3 schools in Goodyear, 1 school in Litchfield Park proper, and 6 schools in Litchfield Park, which is considered the Maricopa County Island. And if you know anybody from Litchfield Park, that is a very big distinction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, see, you guys get that. You guys get that. LESD stands for Learning, Excellence, Service, and Development. Certainly, we are a learning organization. That is our focus. Everything that we do, we try to do our very best to achieve excellence. We teach our students and our staff the importance of service to our community, as well as the notion of development, the development of the human potential. We believe that our job is to maximize the potential of every learner in our school district. And that's different for different kids. We offer a customized program for all students, lots of choices. Our new Traditional Academy program, which reflects a strand of rigor that when we surveyed our parents who maybe were thinking about leaving for charter schools, that's something that they expressed interest in. So we started our Traditional Academy program so we can meet the needs of an entire family at their local neighborhood school. We have our honors program in middle school, accelerated programming, which dovetails nicely with our high school district and their accelerated courses for learning. When we talk about maximizing the potential of every single child, we mean every single child. So our special education programs are particularly important to us. We work with a large number of special education students, many who require highly specialized classrooms, equipment, nursing services. We were fortunate enough to develop a medically fragile program at Litchfield Elementary School. Before this, these children took an hour bus ride to a program downtown, and we were able to have the highly trained staff and equipment to build this program on site where we can keep all of our kids with us. So that was particularly exciting for us this year. Here's a budget. You know, you've heard a lot about classroom dollars, non-classroom dollars. Our budget is a little close to $58 million. We have one of the lowest administrative costs in the state at 9%. Looking at our growing number of students. And to give you an idea, if we were funded at the rate we were in 2008, that budget would be $12.5 million more. So basically, I have more kids and less money. No matter what rhetoric you hear, more kids, less money. And when you look at classroom and non-classroom dollars, you know, there's a lot of things that are really nebulous about that. Because things like food service, the money generated in our food service programs cannot be used in the classroom. So in looking at shifting any dollars from non-classroom dollars to classroom dollars, you ask yourself, which law am I going to break? A federal law or a state law? I don't know which prisons are nicer.
Federal.
So I have to check that out a little bit. You think federal?
Yeah, federal.
Federal are better? Okay. I'm not really into, I've seen Orange is the New Black a couple times, but I'm not sure. Maybe they'd let me run the library or something. So we are a major employer in the area with close to 1,500 employees, 694 certified staff, and 800 classified staff. This is a very prominent part of Litchfield Elementary School District. It is our culture, which we have developed called Mission Believe. When we had what we call the perfect storm in education with brand new mandates and less money, how do we inspire people to stay with us? So we looked at really the only thing we can control is how we treat each other. So we put a lot of effort into that. And it's free. And it has made a great deal of difference in our teacher retention rate over time. Our teachers don't make a lot more money than teachers in other areas. And we look to do things that make a teacher's life more manageable. Most of our staff are young females of childbearing age. So we look at preschools at our schools that moms can bring their little ones with for a 25% discount. So all of our employees have that. All of our employees have the opportunity to bring their children with them to their school of choice in our school district. Our buses go from our middle schools to elementary schools anyway. So if we have teachers' kids on the buses to drop them off at their parents' school and we can save you a little bit of time, we do those types of things. Things that don't cost a lot of money, but the impact is huge. So we asked ourselves with Mission Believe, what do our actions look like when we believe in our students, when we believe in our colleagues, and when we believe in ourselves? So this is our 5th mission, and this year is called Infinite Impact. So we look at the actions that we have today with children and what is the infinite impact of those actions. As we look back, what would Mabel Paget say about our work today? I think she'd be pretty proud. Air conditioning, all of that. I think she'd be
she'd love it.
really jazzed about it. So we ask ourselves, what will our impact be? Goodyear schools shine. As you can see, Mabel Paget, Palm Valley, and Western Sky Middle School are all A schools. Palm Valley is a 2-time A+ school through the Arizona Education Foundation. Western Sky is an A+ school and also a National Blue Ribbon school. Very few of those in the nation. Mabel Paget is still kind of young, but Gina's sharpen your pencil for that A+ application. Mabel Paget and Western Sky are the top school earners in the nation for juvenile diabetes. Some of our wonderful volunteers, which is a huge part of our success, our community support, and the sheer number of man-hours that our community partners offer in all different sorts of ways. Arizona Specialty Foods, a little something there, which helps to brighten everybody's day. And it's actually very good hot sauce, by the way. Special programs with Goodyear schools. You got your rock star Chief Geyer there making national news, and Gina at Mabel Paget. I always like to make the news for a good reason, right? Thanks, right. Chief. Appreciate it. They caught the bad guy before he was bad.
It's great.
Hey, our systems worked. Another exciting program that we have, and they are employees that work for free, are our therapy dogs. And this guy getting his school picture taken is Oliver. He's a dapper guy. And therapy dogs bring a unique perspective to working with special needs children and typical children who have anxiety in school, who don't like to be pulled out of their classroom for their therapies, but when you get to go play ball with the dog, that's really cool, and everybody wants to do that too. The dog is my best friend when I go to speak at career fairs, because nobody in middle school wants to be a superintendent. You only get to listen to the superintendent when you did not get your first choice. So the dogs make all that better. And I show kids what really innovative things that superintendents get to do and the cool programs that you get to bring in for kids with the help of our dogs. We're very, very proud of our Odyssey of the Mind teams from Palm Valley and Western Sky Middle School, who went to the world competition in Michigan and did just an awesome job and came back with just wonderful stories and experiences and being able to meet kids from all over the world. And the nice thing is that it shows the creativity and innovation of Arizona educators. So to be 49th in the nation in funding, but to be able to go to the World Odyssey of the Mind, I think is pretty stinking good. Goodyear schools give back to the community. And look at their Mayor Lord. She takes such a good picture. I told Mayor Schoaf that you look way better in pictures than he does. So I just want you to know that.
That's kind of you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So this is Mayor Lord joining us when we were celebrating Western Sky's win for being one of the top earners for the National Juvenile Diabetes Association. And this is an NFL player. He's a very big man. Very big man. And he has diabetes. Found out when he played for the NFL. He played for, I think, Pittsburgh Steelers. He had 2 Super Bowl rings, and he let me try them on, and they were as big as my whole finger. So he's got like massive hands. So that was exciting for the kids. We have the same challenges everybody else has. Glad to say that the teacher shortage did not impact us this year as much as it did other spaces and places. Maintaining quality teachers. For us, we add some unpredictable growth in the West Valley. Where is it going to happen, and where do we build our next school so it's in the right place? Some voter apathy. Then, you've talked about our legislature, and, we're curious about educational funding reform also. And I think, to reiterate what you said, teachers are at the foundation of a strong educational system. And, I was thrilled to hear you say that you really want to step up to do something to help. And when I talked to the Avondale City Council, you're probably sorry that you said that and you asked me, because I do have some ideas, so I thought I'd just let them out. The notion is that how do we make our cities most hospitable for teachers to live in? So if a teacher coming out of college makes $35,000 a year, they have $40,000 worth of debt, a car payment, and some kind of rent payment, where can they live to make that $35,000 feel like $45,000? That would be something that our cities can do something about. Can we work with local merchants? We have military discounts. We have senior citizens discounts. But what about teacher discounts? What about for teachers that live and work in the city of Goodyear? If I went to a recruitment fair and said, hey guys, if you come and work and teach middle school math at Western Sky, you can live in this apartment complex for X number of dollars less a month. That would be a huge benefit. And every Tuesday, it's Teacher Tuesday in our city. Every vendor gives teachers discounts. Show your ID, get a discount. That would make our city more hospitable to teachers. And I know, like Avondale gives their police officers subsidies for a living. Now, I'm not saying you all got a lot of money in the budget yourselves, but just kind of along that line is how do we make our quality of life for our teachers better in Goodyear than anywhere else? So with that, I would be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
I'm sure you're going to have
Get a
them.
few, huh? You think so? Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It was a great presentation. It was really nice to see the different presentations and how you made them, and you covered just about anything and everything that is concerning education. So, Bill, I'm going to start with you since you held up.
Thanks. Thank you both very much for being here tonight. It is a lot of my thoughts have really been covered, but so I want to start with the quality of the teachers. It is you have to, when you talk about teacher salary and the uncertainty of what's going on in the Arizona school systems, and I'm just going to generalize it, there's only one reason that a person would volunteer to take this job, and that's simply because they want to make a difference in a young person's life. And I have seen that with my own kids in the Litchfield Elementary School District. See it at Millennium High School, where they're both been through, and there's just amazing people in the classroom. So for that, we are head and shoulders above, I think, the persona of Arizona education. But on that note, not too long ago, we received an update from Economic Development about a project that chose not to come to Arizona because of the poor quality of the education. And that's very frustrating, because no matter what we want and no matter how awesome our schools are, we're not going to fix 49 until we get something done. And we can have these great partnerships and whatnot, but we aren't going to fix the overall system until something changes in downtown Phoenix on Jefferson and Washington. But in any event, I think, from my perspective, I really appreciate what the two elementary school districts that serve the majority of the community. And I didn't get a chance to say this when Buckeye Elementary or Liberty was here. I didn't get a chance to talk about the value that they bring to us as a community. But so if you're listening or if this word gets back, please extend my appreciation for the work that you do, and that it does add to us in the West Side being able to be as quality of communities that we are, simply because we've got strong schools and continue to maintain that community partnership. So thank you very much. Thanks to the board.
I'm going to say something before I pass it on here. I just want you to know that the council, we've sort of, I brought this up and sort of with economic development, that we do want to start collecting the information we need and sort of run on our own as a city when companies come in, because that 49 figure is hard to break down. But as long as we're prepared with it, and I see my economic development, Michelle nodding her head there, as long as we have a presentation about all of our schools, and it tells, what they'll tell the story that you want told and what your attributes are for that school. And now what can make a part of that presentation to companies that come in, because our city is ready. It does have the education. So I just want to interject that, Bill, but the entire council feels that way. So it's not just your mayor. We've talked about that. So that's kind of one of our goals. I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl Lynn, because they mentioned something about your little dog maybe and how important that was. And I think that's really important to you to express that the classroom, that they're doing this, and what that means to you and the classroom. Do you mind?
No, not at all. But there is a difference. I have a little service dog. He's a little rescue dog. He weighs 14 pounds. He wears an extra small vest. It's still a little big. But I know for a fact what a difference. There's a fine line between a therapy dog and a service dog. but the very fact that you're bringing them into special needs kids, it's so powerful. If I might divert and just say my story, I have a friend who has a service dog also, but it's a German Shepherd, and he's a little bit large. And when she walks into a store, I see people kind of grin when they see Mojo and his mistress. And then they see my little Charlie come up behind, and he's the comparison. Without exception, people just, it changes their day to see this, and so I really commend you for that. It's a connection between animals and human, and I, as people know, I'm a little radical about my Charlie. I don't bring him to council, and I don't take him to church, but other than that, because he is so distracting, that he pretty much goes everywhere with me, and there is a relaxing, there is a calming, so kudos to you.
Yeah, so children who are afraid to come to school, experiencing anxiety, going through a tough time, the therapy dog serves a great purpose. Dogs don't care how you read. Some children will say their first word to the dog because dogs don't judge.
And they love, unconditional love. We know that, even if you're cranky, they smile when they see you in their own way. So I'll stop, but thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I put you up to that. I wanted you to talk about that. Joe Pizzillo?
Just a couple things. I wanted to piggyback first on the apathy, and I tend to agree with you. I think at some point we've got to figure out a way, strategy-wise, to get the message out to the parents that by sitting on the sidelines, you're impacting your child's future. And somehow we got to do a better job, I think, all of us, of getting that message out. Because you look at even in our elections, you get 25% turnout on a mail-in ballot, 25%. What would happen if the other 75 would decide to turn it in? Mm-hmm. Now, on your school at Palm Valley, I'm proud. I've got two girls there, and I call them my girls, but they're my granddaughters, that go to Palm Valley Elementary School. And I can see the fruits of your labor, because the one, Sophia, who's now in third grade, proud, just got Student of the Month that she had handed.
Ooh, Sophia.
And I can see her growth over the last 3 years by going to school. Her reading levels, everything about that. And I've been to several of your events, and you're right. I see a lot of energy in there, a lot of energy with the students. I see a lot of energy with the teachers, trying to make it a fun place to grow. And I enjoyed that time when we went and served food in the cafeteria. So, again, I know it's an uphill battle of what you're trying to do day in and day out, but I really believe that until we convince our state legislators to do the right thing and get these schools back on track, you're going to be uphill. And again, I mentioned my biggest concern is not having enough money to do the capital replacement. And after the fact, we're talking about something that should have never happened because we should have had the money to begin with. So, again,
Steve
do great work.
Montenegro will be at Corte Sierra tomorrow, so we're going to be showing them
Work on 'em.
we're going to be working on them.
Yes.
In the nicest possible way.
Yes, I know. But again, you do great work, and again, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Before I go to the next councilman, Cheryl Lynn had.
Well, I just had one thing I'd like to say. One of my great sadnesses in the last few years has been the difficulty in getting people to serve on the school boards. And when I was given an interview when I was running for council, one of the things the reporters, the panel asked me was, what do I think council can do in education? Because there has to be a separation between what we do and what you do. And while we're supportive, there is a line, and we all know that there is that. As much as we want to help, we do know. And I said, well, by being encouraging to our constituents to participate in the education process, serving on the school board, acting as an assistant in the school officer in the school classroom. There's so much that can be done that you don't have the money to be paid for, but that we can, as a community, assist. And I so firmly believe that there is a role for parents and grandparents and community to participate in a positive way. And I really do feel very strongly that there's a true sadness when we can't fill our school board slots. Norma Cunningham has, at the high school level, she's retired, but she was an educator, and she's come back and to serve that way. Admirable. And so that's my passion, is to encourage people to look at and what their skills are and assist, because true, our funding has dropped, and so we have to be proactive to fill that hole somehow.
Thank you, Cheryl. And Molly Campbell?
Well, I'm sure we have thought of this with Michelle, but these are awfully nice to have, to pass out to prospective. If we have our own packet of each school district, that would be so awesome, and put a lot of propaganda in there, because it's just wonderful.
Information, Wally, information.
Oh, information. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Another fine line.
Another fine one, yes. But we are so proud of all of our schools. I know that we have Jean Reynolds and her therapy dogs that are active in Avondale and Litchfield, and we thank Jean for all of her dogs, and she actually started the therapy dog program many years ago, and it's just been such a wonderful community addition, and we do appreciate that. I do want you to know that when any teacher comes to a book sale that the Goodyear Friends of the Library is holding, of which we're members, all of us, we let them have all the books they want for a quarter.
Oh, can we
So
advertise?
that's
Can we
pretty,
advertise
you certainly
that?
may. And the next book sale will be the end of October at the ballpark. But we always ask, especially when they're loading up on certain types of books, are you a teacher? And if they say yes, then we either give them a bag, a grocery bag, and say fill it up, and then just give us a quarter. Take all you want. And then in the off year, I have the librarians from all the high schools come and meet me, and we go through all of the donated books that have been given to the Friends of the Library, and they can have all they want. And we replenish them as people donate to us, because it is more important to get these books in the hand of children than anything else, and that's what we try to do. But you certainly may tell them. And if they don't have money, we'll just give it to them.
I'll give them a quarter.
Yeah, we're just
So
happy to help them.
Thank you, Sherry.
I just want to say thank you, and thank you to all the principals and educators back there. I am a product of the Arizona public school system in the 70s and 80s. I think Joanne is I believe, the only one other up here that went to school as well. Went to Lookout Mountain.
Yeah, I only went to
Lookout Mountain Elementary School. Well, you know, to the Arizona system. And it honestly hurts my heart to see what has happened. I can tell you, Dr. Ella Q. Foreman, our principal at Lookout Mountain, was probably. You used to teach at Lookout Mountain?
Well, then Western or Mountain Sky.
Oh, yeah, that was the middle school. Okay.
Okay, so I hope I wasn't like your teacher.
What did you teach?
Science, 8th grade science.
You might have been. You remember Miss Strong?
Yeah, she was my mentor teacher, so she's a little bit older than me.
Okay, I'm probably a little bit older then, but and that's a school, and there are lots of people whose children, Mrs. Dougal, 5th grade, her son is now a teacher, and you see these. Yes, Matt's a teacher. He was my grade. That's my age. And you see these people.
I am old enough to be your teacher.
Okay. But you see what these schools did, and it hurts my heart when I see what the legislature is doing, because.
You weren't a problem. I don't remember. I don't. You were naughty or anything.
That might have been my sister who's the problem, or it might have been Joanne who's the problem. She was there too.
Yeah. Well, she looks like me. No, it was her.
And you see these kids who are following their parents' footsteps, and I don't know how we fix it. I don't know how we fix 49th. I don't know how we get out there, and I feel like sometimes I'm hitting my head as a parent, for this state, and just saying, you know what, I just can't believe that people are saying, well, the schools are wasting money, or it's all. No, it's not. The money you guys have cut to the bone, and I think everyone here realizes it. And it's so hard, and I know sometimes it's hard to go in there, and in our school up at Estrella, you see the teachers are there till 5 or 6 o'clock at night. They're working weekends, and they are not getting the raises that they deserve. And I don't see how some people would want to go into that profession, except for they're generally caring, nice people. And I don't know what else to say, but you do have our support. Any little thing that we can think of to help, you know, we would love to help you to get that message across. Maybe we'll just all walk on the Capitol. I don't know. That's where I'm to the point right now. You know, because we really do need that money for the schools. And we, just as one little city, can't fix the problem, but hopefully we can fix our little area and help you as much as we can, both of you. And thank you if everyone's here.
Joanne?
Wonderfully said, Sherry. You know, I appreciate the creativity. And that's, you know, there's so many things that are out of our control, and there's so many things that's why you have to be as creative as you possibly can, because you never know what's going to stick. But every opportunity that you can come up with an idea to make something better for a teacher, for a child, for the school, then that's what you have to roll with. My mother was a teacher. All my aunts were teachers. And my little brand new daughter-in-law is a teacher. Came from your school district and went to Desert Edge and went to Wildflower Elementary. And I think she actually went to Gina's school also for a little while or something like that. Anyway, no. You know what? Because that would be Litchfield. So no, she stayed always in Avondale and then was at Desert Edge. And she's a teacher. Now, we lost them to Flagstaff. but you know, talking with her, we talk about the teaching issues and the atmosphere. And she said, I wish they would make up their mind on what I'm supposed to be teaching and what I'm supposed to be, you know, just you hit it on the head. They come in and they're from one year to the next, it's changing. And I see her frustration. And that has nothing to do with money. That's just, you know, consistency and a strategy of what's going to make our students succeed. And so I get that. But, you know, over the years, as Goodyear has grown and we've looked at planning and zoning, and we've looked at where our schools fit. We've also had over the years the discussion not only for a teacher's salary, but for public safety. You know, where can people that are starting off at a $35,000 to $45,000 a year job fit in the neighborhood that they work in, that they teach in, or that they serve? And so those are important, because that's back to creativity of talking with a builder of how do you have, you know, a high-end type of neighborhood, but you have housing development that they can afford too. You know, because I certainly want my kids to be able to be down the road from their teacher. You know, that's important. And I hate to see a teacher or a fireman or a policeman have to leave their city because they can't afford to live in the city that's there.
And they make great neighbors.
Oh, of course they do. Of course they do. So I understand that, and I think creativity is key. And you know, and I love your ideas, and you know, I would always stand behind them. I don't know how much I can take off on diamonds, but you know, but you start somewhere. You know, I mean, it's important.
Somebody might have to get engaged, Joanne.
Yeah, well,
teacher. You know.
So I appreciate it, and I know that we all stand behind you. I mean, you know, a couple of you guys keep teaching. You know, I don't want to say you're suckers for punishment. And my mother was a junior high teacher, and I just, you know, oh my gosh, they deserve extra brownie points. There's no doubt. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, once more, thank you for coming. Please continue to get this information out, not just to us, but downtown, the big building. Because, you know, I'm always so critical of them, but you have to remember they have a lot of things coming before them. They have a lot of people pulling at them. Everybody wants money. They have hard decisions to make, because I know we make some hard decisions here. But if you can make sure that each legislator and has this information, so that at least you give them that opportunity to breeze through this, to try to understand the subject matter more. I think that would help. And I always have to kind of slap myself a little bit. I'm so critical, and I shouldn't be, because they have a tough job too. But on education, I've been a little bit rough on them. But let's do that for them, okay?
So, you know what, Georgia, just on that note, is that when you are speaking to the legislators of our districts, remind them that your cities need to bring in the great jobs and corporate entities to this city. And that's why education is so important in your district. And just, let them see the full circle of life of how it goes. And because that is part of the message that we need them to understand, that the district they're representing needs those jobs, and it needs to have an educated workforce, and they need to understand that the corporate entities that are looking at possibly coming to this city wants a great education system behind it. And you guys have it. They just need to understand they need to focus on that. So, thank you.
So thank you very much. I'm going to give you a round of applause for that. All right, Council, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and I'm going to give you a break.
Thank you.
Okay, I was watching your face. I can always tell by your facial expression. So how about 6:15? Okay, so this meeting's
We can
adjourned.
do 5
That,
minutes.
is that